The moment that changed everything didn't look dramatic at first. No music, no slow motion, no warning signs. Just a normal weekday afternoon, gray skies, light rain, and me walking into a place where I technically owned the walls, the floors, the lights. Yet somehow, I was treated like I didn't belong there at all. And yeah, that's where this story really begins. I wasn't dressed like power. No tailored suit, no luxury luggage, no entourage glued to their phones. I was exhausted. The kind of tired that sinks into your bones after too many nights proving yourself in rooms where people already decided who you were before you spoke. I had just come off a brutal stretch of work, back-to-back negotiations. Flights stacked on flights, the kind of grind nobody posts on social media. So I showed up in sneakers, a hoodie, and a backpack that had been everywhere with me. Comfort over image. Big mistake, apparently. The private terminal looked like something out of a magazine. Marble floors, glass walls, soft lighting that whispered money. The air smelled expensive, calm, controlled, and the second I stepped inside, dripping rain onto that perfect floor, I felt it shift. Eyes on me. Not curious eyes, calculating ones, measuring, ranking, dismissing. I walked toward the desk, ready to check in and disappear into a quiet corner. That's when he stepped out. Tall guy, perfect haircut. Suit that screamed status but somehow still felt insecure. He moved fast, planted himself between me and the counter like I was about to steal something. Arms crossed. Smile that wasn't a smile. You know the type. The kind of person who mistakes authority for worth. He looked me up and down, didn't even try to hide it, then said, loud enough for the room to hear, "This area is restricted. You can't be here." Not hello, not can I help you, just that. I told him I was checking in for my flight. Gave him the aircraft number. His reaction. He laughed. Like I'd just told him a joke at my own expense. He actually laughed and said that plane cost more than most houses like that alone disqualified me. Like wealth only wears one uniform. I explained calmly, because that's what you do when you're used to being underestimated. I said my pilot had the manifest, I just needed access to the lounge. He stepped closer, too close, dropped his voice. The politeness vanished. He started explaining how this place was for real clients. Said if I worked cleaning planes, the back entrance was around the corner. Suggested I wait outside until whoever I was with showed up. Every word landed exactly where he meant it to. Not just to insult me, but to shrink me. And I felt it. That familiar burn, the one that comes from realizing someone has already decided your ceiling. I asked him to check the system, used his first name. That's when his eyes snapped up. He hadn't told me his name. That detail rattled him more than anything else I'd said. He corrected me sharply, raised his voice, started talking about standards, appearances, how he wouldn't let anyone disrupt the environment. Anyone, right. I reached for my ID, slowly, deliberately. He panicked like I'd gone for a weapon, shouted, snatched it away before the young staff member behind the desk could even glance at it. And then, instead of pausing, instead of checking, instead of thinking, he made the decision that sealed his fate. He called the police, right there, right in front of me. Reported me as a trespasser, said I was aggressive, said I refused to leave, said I was a problem. And I remember standing there thinking, wow, this is really happening. At that point, I stopped arguing. I stopped explaining. There's a moment when you realize words won't save you, only truth will. So, I waited. Rain dripping off my sleeves, heart steady, watching him puff himself up like he'd just won something. Then the universe decided to get involved. The automatic doors slid open and in walked two loud, flashy people, covered in designer logos, dragging suitcases, talking over each other, already acting like they owned the place. And the transformation was instant. The man who'd been barking at me turned into a greeter at a 5-star resort, smiling, bowing, calling them by name. They looked at me, laughed, asked who let a hobo inside, and instead of correcting them, instead of shutting that down, he played along, used me as a contrast, a prop, proof that he was in control. When he grabbed my backpack strap to physically move me, something in me snapped into focus. Not anger, clarity. I told him to let go, calmly, quietly, My voice didn't shake. The room did. Sirens started echoing outside. He smiled like a kid who'd called in backup. And then right on cue, my pilot ran in from the tarmac, soaked breathless, scanning the room until he saw me. He didn't acknowledge the manager at all. Came straight to me, asked if I was okay, apologized, and when the manager tried to explain himself, my pilot shut him down so fast the air felt different. That's when the truth dropped. My name, my role, and the small detail that earlier that day I had finalized the purchase of the terminal itself. You could hear the silence, heavy, crushing. The police walked in seconds later. The manager doubled down, still insisting I was lying, still clinging to the version of reality where he was right. The officer checked my ID, checked the system, and his entire demeanor shifted. Respect replaced suspicion. Professionalism replaced threat. And just like that, the power dynamic flipped. Phones came out. Someone recognized me. The story started spreading in real time. The man who'd tried to erase me was now being recorded from every angle. He demanded privacy. I waived it, told them to keep filming. If he believed in his actions so much, the world could see them. When he begged to talk privately, I said no, because this wasn't about humiliation. It was about accountability. I sat down, asked for the operations tablet, and started scrolling. Complaints, patterns, stories that looked painfully familiar. Turns out what he did to me wasn't an exception. It was habit. So I ended it, right there. Badge cut in half. Position terminated. No quiet exit. No golden parachute. And when the executive he'd been trying so hard to impress walked in and confirmed he'd heard everything. That was the final blow. Less than a day later, the footage was everywhere. Millions of views. People he'd dismissed for years finally being heard. Job offers vanished. Networks closed ranks. Even the places where he used to hold court wanted nothing to do with him. And a couple days after that, I heard where he ended up. Economy class. Middle seat. Hoodie pulled tight. Recognized by strangers who remembered exactly who he was when he thought no one was watching. Here's why I'm telling you this. Not because I won, not because karma is entertaining, but because moments like this expose something deeper. How quickly people decide your value. How dangerous unchecked authority can be. How silence, dignity, and timing can be more powerful than shouting. I didn't raise my voice once. I didn't threaten. I didn't insult him back. I just stood my ground and let the truth do the work. So I want to know what you think. Was justice served, or did it go too far? Have you ever been judged by how you looked instead of who you are, or maybe you've witnessed someone abuse power and walk away untouched? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read them. And if this story made you feel something, share it. Because the more we talk about this stuff, the harder it becomes to pretend it doesn't exist.